Now, if you had young'uns, you have no doubt had them put you in a situation you'd just as soon not been in. I had the occasion to chat with a Catholic nun the other day, and that conversation reminded me of one of those situations. When my son Jimmy was about 3 years old, we lived in a house on the outskirts of Jackson, Mississippi. And there was a Catholic church just up the road, and attached to the church was a small apartment where a couple of nuns lived. There was also a couple of empty fields between the church and our house, and I used to turn my bird dogs loose in the fields to get some exercise. Well, one day I turned the dogs loose, and Jimmy wanted to go up with me when I followed them. It was a cloudy day, and there was a moderate wind blowing, but it was warm enough that I figured he could handle it for an hour or so. But we hadn't gone very far when he decided that riding on my shoulders was a whole lot better than walking. So I swung him up on my shoulders with a leg on each side of my neck, and we continued on following the dogs. Well, we got to be in the vicinity of the church when the dogs got real interested in one spot, evidently where a covey of quail had been using or had just left. And I was watching them very closely to see how they were working it when I felt Jimmy's legs tighten around my neck. And I hadn't noticed that one of the nuns in a white habit had come down to the fence right by us to empty a pot of coffee grounds or something. The wind was swirling that white habit around, and Jimmy said in a pretty loud voice with her right behind us, "Look, Daddy, there's a ghost." Well, I saw the nun whose head snapped up when he said that, and I told him very quietly, "No, son, that is not a ghost." "Yes, sir, it is," he hollered. It looks just like Casper." Well, I sauntered over to the nun and said, "Good afternoon, sister. How are you?" or something like that. She smiled a broad smile, looking at Jimmy, and said, "I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?" I said, "We're fine too," and left. Jimmy later told me that he didn't know ghosts could talk like that, and she seemed like a very good and friendly ghost. Well, it took me a while to convince him, and I'm sure there was a humorous conversation around supper that night at the nun's apartment dinner table. And I got to thinking, you can't make things like that up. And I was wondering what he would have said if the habit had been black. And then I said, no, I don't even want to think about that. Would you? I'm Jim Ritchie. I'll see you again next time.